What's up, my meatballs? It's Aaronitmar. Welcome back to some more Let's Play Kingdom Hearts Final Mix. This time we are going to be doing the Final Mix exclusive Heartless and Ultima Weapon synthesis guide. Please note before I begin, this is only going to be for those Heartless that are kind of confusing as to how to get their synthesis piece. The rest of the Heartless are basically just destroy them and there's a chance they'll drop it. All of that I will leave in the description. I'm going to leave basically a guide of what Heartless drop what, and how many of each you'll need. That guide is a little incomplete, but regardless, it's going to help you in the long run with this, with synthesizing the Ultimate Weapon. Keep in mind that that is totally unnecessary. You don't have to do it, but if you want to get the best weapon in the game, as well as some of the best equipment items in the game, I recommend doing this, because it will really increase your MP, your HP, and your attack power with just those weapons alone. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with the Final Mix exclusive Heartless. First off, since we're in Traverse Town, we might as well do the one that's in Traverse Town. This is the Sniper Wild. The Sniper Wild is similar to the Bouncy Wild in that it will shoot at you, make you drop money, things like that. The difference is if it spots you, it's going to raise an alarm, which will bring in a huge horde of other Sniper Wilds that to attack you and basically make it impossible to get the synthesis item for this. So you want to make sure you cast stop on it. As soon as you defeat the first one, 2 are going to appear, and then after you defeat 2, 3 are going to appear. This makes things a little more complicated. You want to try and get one of them on their own. A lot of times they will jump up on these ledges here, and that's an excellent time to cast stop on them and defeat them before they can raise the alarm or the other Sniper Wild can see you. So once you've gotten basically the partner out of the way, you can go ahead and just attack the lone one and have no fear. But then you want to get out of the way as soon as possible so that when the next round of Sniper Wilds appear, they spawn in, they don't see you and raise the alarm immediately. You have an opportunity to stop them before they finish, calling their alarms and bringing in their buddies to attack you. But it's really, if you sort of get into panic mode when that happens, and then another Sniper Wild usually sees you. So I recommend just being patient, making sure that there's a decent distance between you and between you and the other Sniper Wilds before attacking one. And if you attack through all 3 rounds, you'll see that you will receive the synthesis item as for this Heartless. Then it will start over, but in my experience, a lot of the it gets a lot harder the second time around. So a lot of the time I'll end up having the alarms sounded on me anyway. Just like over here, see, I don't even think they saw me and they still somehow raised the alarm. So now that I've been caught, it's impossible for me to get the synthesis item, so I have to leave, and it can be really a huge pain. Alright, now in Wonderland, there are actually 2 special Heartless that we need to discuss for the synthesis guide. First off are the white mushrooms here. You may have noticed these while playing the game. These are kind of unique. They drop mystery goos, which these are the only enemies that will drop mystery goos. They're kind of unique in how you get them though. If you attack them in just any way, they will immediately disappear and not give you anything. What you need to do is pay attention to what little dance they are doing. They'll always be interchanging between a different dance. And based on that dance, you need to do a special magic ability, magic attack I should say. And once you've chosen which magic attack to do, you should do that all 3 times in order to have the highest chance of getting the mystery goo drop. Now, I choose to do this in Wonderland because in Wonderland you're only supposed to have up to 3 magic attacks at this point. So this allows me to have the highest possibility to get the same attacks 3 times before they disappear, before they despawn. So that's why I choose to do this here. You can do this anywhere at the end of the world, Atlantica, wherever, but I choose to do it here because it's much easier. Now they'll do different dances here in Wonderland. They will fan themselves, and that means that you're supposed to cast Blizzard on them. They will shiver, and that means you're supposed to cast Firaga. Or a big yellow ball will appear above their heads, and that means you need to cast Thundaga. I tend to wait for Thundaga because even when Goofy and Donald are in the way, you can still tell when he wants Thundaga cast on him. So that makes it just a little bit easier. If you're not going for any of the special other drops that can happen with the different magic attacks, then I highly recommend just going for Thundaga. because it's easiest to see, it has the most range, and as you can see, it drops some mystery goo the first try for me, which is fantastic. And now we'll move on to the Bazaar Room. You have to enter this from the Queen's Castle section in order to get it. And if you get lucky enough, the Gigant Shadow will appear. It will look just like a bunch of little grunts attacking you, but this is actually basically what you have to encounter before the Heartless shows up. You basically have to do 3 rounds of this. So it's pretty tedious, but at the same time it's really easy because you've been fighting these since Destiny Islands, so you really should not have a problem with these. They have really low HP, so you should be one-hitting them at this point. And then I believe there will be a third, yes, there will be a third round, and then after this, there should be a giant grunt horde that will show up. And this is where things get a little bit more tricky, because once the giants show up, you need to cast Dumbo as soon as possible. Well, you don't need to, but it is recommended. Because the Gigant Shadows, the giant ones, if they hit you at all, like you take any damage from them at all, they disappear. And the reason you want to cast Dumbo is because the more that you're able to defeat, the higher the chance of getting their special synthesis item drop is. So you don't take damage while you're on Dumbo, but you still do damage to them. So that's really helpful. So the more that you defeat, the higher your chances to get the synthesis item. And so you kind of want to run away as soon as you get off Dumbo and just begin attacking. As you can see, a couple of them disappeared because they got hits on me after I landed off the Dumbo and I was defenseless. But I got them all down to a decent health, and that dropped their special synthesis item. In Deep Jungle, there are also 2 2 special Heartless to get synthesis items from, so we'll be covering both of those here as well. The first is the Black Ballad. This sort of looks familiar. It's a black version of different Heartless that we've seen. The difference is it's more of a puzzle than attacking it. You'll notice that it's split into 5, 1 raised, and then it's scrambled. Essentially what this is you have to choose which one you believe is the real one, and the 4 others will be imposters. As you see there, I was correct in choosing which one to attack, but I didn't have enough time. As you can see there, I was using a trick that you could constantly pause the game to watch which Heartless is real, and it sort of is a trick to, watch which one the real one goes where. It can be really tedious, and after the second time you attack them when they're slow, it will end up becoming much faster, and so even with the pause trick, it becomes pretty difficult. This one is less difficult. I'm sorry. It's less difficult and more super annoying because it relies on luck. Because as you can see, some of them clump together and some of them go behind the HUD, and it can get really annoying because sometimes you're trying to watch them and then all of a sudden 2 of them clump together, or they'll go in a different direction all of a sudden and you just lose track. So it can be really difficult. But I believe after 3 or 4 hits, you're able to get the synthesis item off on them. You don't have to do the pause trick. It can be helpful, but you really do have to be quick about it and make sure you're actually hitting the pause button. Because if you're just lightly tapping it, you're going to end up thinking you're pausing and you're not going to be paying attention. And then the Heartless is going to fly away and you're going to be sad because it's going to attack you and you're not going to get the synthesis item. And it's disappointing altogether. But as you can see, I'm not doing that good of a job here. I never really do a very good job on here, which I guess is a testament to how easy it is to get the synthesis items. See, hopefully I get this one right. There we go, and it drops the lightning stone for us, no problem. You keep doing this because it will still continue to split, but I would recommend just leaving and coming back, because when you leave and come back, it allows you to get the 2 slower rotations before it starts getting the faster one again. Next up, you want to go to the cabin in the Deep Jungle. And if you don't encounter any Heartless as soon as you walk in, that is a good sign that you have found the Final Mix Heartless. Otherwise, you can just drop off and make a go-around from the tunnel. And basically what we're doing is we're looking for 3 white mushrooms. All of them will be frozen in time, which indicates that we need to cast Stop on them. And we need to do this 3 times, the 3 different mushrooms that are hidden throughout this area. If we do this, this is how the special Final Mix Heartless is going to show up. So basically we just need to cast stop on the white mushroom all 3 times. You'll notice I have the diamond dust keyblade. This is because for this Heartless it's very advantageous to have a lot of MP because we're going to be casting stop on it as well. But the difference is casting stop on it basically makes it last longer if we have more MP. So if we have the most MP, we are going to want to that gives us the longest amount of time for stop. Now what we want to do is cast stop on it and then hit it as many times as possible. So I recommend you cast arrow as well, because arrow gives you an extra 2 hits per second that is stopped. And this can essentially double the amount of hits that you can get, which is great. So you want to cast arrow and then cast stop on it, and then just begin attacking it like crazy. You want to lock onto its body. Sometimes you lock onto its head and you'll end up doing aerial attacks. You want to do ground attacks, so you want to lock onto its body. I have 11 MP right here, so if you have any less than 11, you might not get the job done. I barely get to the point where I can drop the synthesis item, which is at 40 hits, which you can tell by the amount of XP is showing up. And as you can see right there, it dropped the Serenity Power. So anything less than 11 MP might not be helpful, but that is the pink Agaricus, which I forgot to say the name of until just now. Moving on to Agrabah, we will want to go to the Palace Gates section. And if you enter in this area and you find just a huge labyrinth of pots, you know you found the right place. Now, only one of these pots actually hides the final mixed Heartless enemy. The rest are just empty. But we want to distinguish which one has the enemy, because if we destroy all the pots that don't have the enemy first, there's a higher chance that we'll get a second drop of our special synthesis item. So basically all you have to do, as I'm doing right now, is walk into the pots. If they move, they're empty. If they don't move, like this one right here, it has the enemy in it. So there's only one that's going to actually do that. So once you determine which one is the one that is the enemy, you can go ahead and destroy all the others. Be careful of combo moves, because you might accidentally hit the enemy. But if you do it, occasionally you will get an extra drop of a mithril stone. But why would you want to pass up the opportunity to get 2? So here's the pot soldier, I think, the pot scorpion. Oops, my mistake. So basically you want to attack it. You aren't going to be able to attack it normally. You'll actually have to deflect this move so it falls on its back before you can start attacking it. I believe you have to do this at least a minimum of 2 times, because then you can destroy it right now, as I did the second time, and we get an extra drop of the mithril stone. Nothing too difficult. Be wary though, because it can poison you a lot, so that's not good. Back to being swallowed by Monstro. If you jump your way up to the stomach, we are going to be encountering the Grand Ghost Heartless. Now this is kind of interesting if you don't know what to do. If you try and attack it, nothing will happen. What you want to do is use healing items on it. Yes, you heard me right. We are using healing items on it to do damage to it. Basically, if you use an item and then get close enough to the ghost, a 4th option will show up called Ghost, which we can go ahead and use on it, and it will do damage. Higher healing moves or higher healing items will result in more damage and higher chance of getting a drop. For example, right here I just did an elixir and received a frost stone. And then we can go ahead and I do a mega potion right here. And if I do it on the ghost one more time, it defeats the ghost, and we get a second drop of the frost stone. So it's kind of interesting. I recommend not using elixirs too much, because those are pretty rare, and you can do just about as much damage with a high potion as you can with an elixir. So I recommend using elixirs sparingly. Alright, moving on to Halloween Town, you want to make your way to the Manor Ruins. The way you know that you're about to fight the final mix Heartless is if a single white knight will appear. If a single white knight appears, then you know that it's about to come up, because then there'll be 3 more rounds of white knight attacks, but it started off with 1, and ordinarily it starts off with 4 or 5 if you're just encountering regular Heartless. As soon as you defeat all of those, the Chimera will drop out. This is an interesting fight where he has a shield that you have to destroy, but the only way to actually deal damage to him is by hitting these weird bouncing orbs of light back at him that he, when he loses his shield, I guess. So that's the main idea of this whole section of fight, I guess. It's kind of weird, and as you can see, it's very difficult to hit these. Occasionally you'll just luckily hit them, but if you're aiming for them, it's kind of annoying. If you notice that the lights will go back on when while when you're attacking him, it means that his shield has regenerated, and then it's time to return to attacking him normally. And then when his shields drop, it sort of becomes dark, and that's when you want to attack him with all of his little orbs of light, which I guess is kind of weird. Why would you be sending out the thing that actually hurts you towards the people who are trying to kill you? I don't know. Doesn't make any sense, but it's a video game. Don't ask questions like this. I'm dumb. I don't know. But there we go. As you can see, if you're locked onto him for some reason, it feels like, maybe it's a placebo effect thing, but it feels like it's much easier to hit those and attack them than it is when you're not anywhere near him. But regardless, this fight is not that hard. It's just more tedious than anything. He likes to bring out the Heartless occasionally when he has his shield back up, but Donald does lightning on it a lot, and so that helps you out with that. And for defeating him, we receive the Blazing Stone. Next up on the pirate ship in Neverland, we are going to be encountering the jet balloon out here outside the actual pirate ship. He's going to be shooting these missile divers at you, which as you can see will make you lose a lot of money. So I recommend casting arrows so that they don't actually hit you. This can be still annoying because as soon as you get towards the jet balloon, he a lot of times he'll float away. So it's really irritating, but I guess if you just keep at it, eventually there will be a chance to attack. I recommend defeating him over the ship rather than over water, because there's a very good chance that the synthesis item will drop into the water and disappear, and you don't want to lose your dazzling stone that way, which is the synthesis item you receive. So I recommend doing it over the ship hull rather than over the water. Treasure magnets sometimes can help you here, but a lot of times it's been unreliable, so I would rather, if it fall somewhere that I know I can pick it back up at. Moving on to Hollow Bastion, you're actually going to need to defeat a couple rounds of Heartless in order to make this particular final mix Heartless appear. And this, you might not even know that the final mix Heartless appears. You'll defeat a bunch of regular enemies, but then these large bodies will appear, which are very out of place in Hollow Bastion, at least in this area. So you want to defeat them as well. If the large bodies appear, you know that you're about to fight the final mix Heartless. Then an invisible Heartless will appear. This is the stealth soldier. Casting stop on him will cause him to show himself, but only for a few seconds. If you stay locked onto him, it's a lot more reliable. I usually cast stop just to keep him from bouncing everywhere and disappearing. A lot of times 2 or 3 will spawn in an area, as you can see right about here. As soon as we defeat this one, another one comes out of nowhere and attacks us, but then disappears. It's really unreliable to try and defeat more than one per visit to a room, so I recommend just focusing on one, defeating it, receiving your synthesis item, and then, maybe you can try, but a lot of times they'll disappear before you can get it down even to half health, so try, but then don't get your hopes, disappointed or anything. And finally, in the end of the world, we will be encountering the Neo Shadow in the room just before the final rest. Now, the Neo Shadow is an interesting fight as well, because it looks like it's a ton of Heartless, but in fact, it's actually just one Heartless and a ton of clones. And you'll know you're defeating a clone when you defeat it, it turns into a bunch of green hearts and just sort of dissipates. Basically, the idea of this fight is you want to destroy all the clones so that you can basically compromise the identity of who the real Heartless is. And then from there, you want to just defeat the real Heartless, and that's where you'll be getting your chance to get the synthesis item drop. It can be kind of annoying because once you get down to 2 or 3, the clones will begin attacking you like they always have. But then the real Neo Shadow will actually do this and start grabbing you and making it so you can't move. And which is annoying because the only way to get the Neo Shadow on his own is to defeat all the clones. But eventually he will pop up as he's about to do, and you can begin attacking him. And if you attack him, occasionally you'll get the drop of the Stormy Stone. So now that we have defeated all of the final mix Heartless, we can go straight to the Ultima Weapon synthesis. Keep in mind, like I said at the beginning, just because you've defeated all of these at least once doesn't mean you're going to be able to get it. In the description there is a link to how many of every item you'll need, give or take. Some of them are, off, which I'm about to explain. But basically now we just want to go all the way through, and every list is a new synthesis item of 6, So basically we just want to keep synthesizing 6 times. And when we're done, we want to back out of the menu real fast, let it, you know, sort of load, and then return, and then there will be a new 6 to synthesize. And I believe after we hit 18, he gives us a new ability. Let's see. Yes, he does. Hold on, Koopal! Here, take this, Koopal! And we receive Encounter Plus, which makes enemies appear more frequently, which would be a lot more helpful during the actual synthesis part. I wish they gave it to us after like the first synthesis or something. That would be a lot more helpful. But there we go. These are a lot of the awesome new equipment that really increase your stats really well. And finally, we have... Oh wait, oops, sorry. One more list to go. As you can see, I'm getting to the point where I have to start mixing it up. I have to start synthesizing more dark matter in order to get the XP bracelet and then the ribbon. So then when I back out and reload, the new list can load because I have to do all 6 to get the new list. And here we go, a new attack item for Donald and for Goofy, and then there's the Ultima Weapon. Obviously I can't do it yet because I need more dark matter. So in order to get more dark matter, I needed more mithrils. So I went down to the mithrils and I synthesized 5 more mithrils, I believe, is the number that I did because I needed 2 each and I already had 1. So there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There. Oh, 6. There we go. And then there's 3 dark matter, and then I can go all the way down to the Ultima Weapon and finally synthesize it. I'm not going to be using Donald and Goofy's synthesis items because they're actually not better than the Save the King and Save the Queen. So I'm not going to bother with that. But as you can see, we go to our equipment screen and we finally have the Ultima Weapon, the best weapon in the game. So look at that, it looks awesome. I want to hang on, let me find something to attack so I can there we go. The candle should work. The candle should work. Attack it. There we go. Look how cool it's gonna look. Look at that. That looks awesome. But that is going to be it for the synthesis guide. I hope you all enjoy it. I hope it was a little bit helpful. If not, leave me a comment. I can always answer questions because I've sort of become halfway intelligent at this, having to research and do it a bunch of times. So feel free to leave me a comment if you have any questions or concerns. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time on Let's Play Kingdom Hearts Final Mix.